Sunrise, the boy of sunlight and poverty. In 1913, in a small village in Algeria, a boy was born who would later become one of the brightest voices of the 20th century, Albert Camus. His father, a poor French worker, was killed in World War I when Albert was just a baby. His mother, a quiet and hardworking woman, raised him in silence and poverty. Their home was full of the Algerian sun, but their table was almost always empty. Despite being poor, Albert had a brilliant mind. His teacher recognized his potential and helped him win a scholarship to attend high school. That teacher later inspired the kind-hearted schoolteacher in Camus' novel The Plague. Soccerball the student, the footballer, and the son. Camus studied philosophy in Algiers, but he loved life more than he loved books. He played football, swam in the sea, and walked for hours under the Mediterranean sun. Years later, he said, "Everything I know about morality, I learned from football." During his student years, he fell ill with tuberculosis, a disease that stayed with him for the rest of his life. It forced him to stop playing sports, but it also pushed him to think deeply about death, absurdity, and the meaning of life. Detective Malesine, the writer of Absurdity and Passion. Camus began writing essays and plays, but his life changed with his novel The Stranger, L'Étranger. It tells the story of a man, Massault, who doesn't cry at his mother's funeral and faces the world with strange honesty. To Camus, it wasn't a story about indifference, it was about truth in a meaningless universe. Around the same time, he wrote The Myth of Sisyphus, where he famously declared, "There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide." But he didn't mean life was worthless. He meant that even knowing life has no ultimate meaning, we must still live, and, like Sisyphus, keep pushing our stone uphill with courage. Broken Heart War, Resistance, and Love for Humanity. During World War II, Camus lived in France and joined the underground resistance newspaper Combat. He stood against fascism but refused to glorify violence. His voice, calm, human, compassionate, spoke for the dignity of ordinary people. He wrote The Plague, a story about a town trapped by disease. It was really about fascism, suffering, and moral courage. Even in darkness, Camus believed in the light of human decency. Trophy, the Nobel Prize and Sudden Death. In 1957, at just 44 years old, Albert Camus won the Nobel Prize in Literature. He humbly said he felt too young for such an honor. He wanted to see the world not as a cold philosopher but as a child full of wonder. Yet only 3 years later, fate struck cruelly. At age 46, Camus died in a car accident. In his coat pocket, they found a train ticket. He had planned to travel by train but changed his mind at the last moment to ride with a friend. Had he not made that small decision, the story might have been different. Son. Camus' legacy. Until his last breath, Camus searched for meaning, not in religion or complicated systems, but in honesty, friendship, sunlight, and simple human joy. He once wrote, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer."